Hello, Internet, and thank you for tuning in to Tharp in 30, the podcast where we talk about everything pop culture, from Stand By Me to Stand By Your Man, the Tammy Wynette song, but God forbid we ever listen to that. We're only talking about the Blues Brothers version of it. Shout out to future guest, John Belushi's Ghost. I'm your host, John Tharp, and I'm here with a dear friend of mine, Angie Ballew. How are we today?
Great. Thanks for having me, John.
What film are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about Stand By Me, as directed by Rob Reiner.
Robert Reiner. What do you think about Rob Reiner? Like, when you think about Rob Reiner, where are you at with Rob Reiner?
Well, I guess I think about more quintessential 80s for me, for sure. But more in the comedy realm. So
he did Harry Met Sally, right? When Harry Met Sally.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's his next film after this film. I always think about this is Spinal Tap. You know, like he's throwing heat in that. But most people are like, isn't he that guy from All in the Family? Or was it All in the Family? Or I'm fucking this up. Or he's All in the Family. Or yeah, I think All in the Family.
Okay, so he played.
He was an actor.
Jughead.
Yeah. Fucking Jughead.
Right.
And here we are. And he did Castle Rock, which is the Seinfeld juggernaut, and he's a billionaire.
He did.
I believe to start this film, which is based in the fictional town of Castle Rock, which became his production company, and they produced Seinfeld, and he's a fucking billionaire.
I did not know that.
Oh
okay,
yeah,
right on.
Yeah.
So this is his second movie, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which blows me away.
After This is Spinal Tap.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What were you doing in 1986?
Well, in 1986, I was 11. And this came out, I remember at least coming into my awareness like the summer between 5th and 6th grade. And you know, it hit. We watched it on VHS.
Sure.
I mean, I'm surprised we didn't destroy that tape.
What kind of jeans were you wearing in 86?
Honestly, I was probably wearing Guess jeans or Pepe.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
In 86, I was 4, so I was just coming into the fact that He-Man is better than every fucking thing on the planet, period.
So I was feeling the Pet Shop Boys and the Eurythmics. They would just come out with Missionary Man.
So I guess that's like the first time that you're actually like getting into music for yourself, you know, like not like other people, you know, like radio, or like you're like, you know what I like, you know, here's my fucking tape.
I mean, we were into MTV. They were still playing actual music videos at that time.
Sure, which is, you know, something that people, you know, the youngsters won't understand, and it is bizarre. I mean, like, it used to just be music videos. I know everyone's saying this, back in my day, you know, music videos, whatever. Anyway, other cool things that happened, not cool things that happened in 1986. The Challenger disaster.
Yep, I saw that happen live.
For real?
At elementary school. Yeah, we had the whole school tuning in.
Oh, shit.
You know, back in the day when they would roll the TV in with the cart, and it was like strapped on the cart, and they rolled that in, and they had 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. We were all together. Big, you know,
That's
big deal.
Gnarly.
We were watching it, and it blew up, and they were like...
How did teachers come back from that?
It was very upsetting.
They're like, anyway, math.
They just immediately turned it off. That's really all I remember.
Sure. Like, so there was a big, you know, Peter Billingsley from, you know, Ralphie, you know, from Christmas Story and lesser known films like The Dirt Bike Kid, which will be on this podcast. Like his whole class, you know, like gets to go, you know, like TV crew there, and it's just their faces while it explodes.
As you remember, Christine McCullough was on that flight. So she was the first teacher to go into space. Yes. That's one of the reasons it was a big deal.
Of course, especially in schools and shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's traumatizing.
And then the thing fucking blows up.
So, speaking of trauma, this movie has trauma in it. Other movies this year: Top Gun, throwing heat. Future topic on this show: Platoon, Aliens, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's heat right there. All right, well let's begin. I think the soundtrack to this movie is like its other character. It's throwing so much heat, like right out the gate. It's just destroying, and just doesn't stop the entire time. I have it on vinyl. Humble brag. How do you feel about this soundtrack?
So I had it on cassette,
Nice.
of course, and at the time, I mean, those were oldies, even at the time. So that set the tone for the movie, because they never in the movie explicitly say when this is taking place, but you very much like ground it in the late 50s,
totally.
just based on the soundtrack alone.
That's what I was gonna say next. It's like the props and like the set design and just the wardrobe. It just sends you to a place you're just like, this is clearly the 50s, even if you don't even know it. I'm a kid watching this movie, which I just right out the gate, I love that like little boys are saying fuck, so I'm like, I'm all in, at the tender age of 6 or whatever. But you can tell it's not our time. You can, like the cars, just the cars and the clothes, it's insane. And right now is where I would normally go, oh, the set designer was blah, but I don't have that because this is a shoddy podcast. I think narration also is kind of critical to this. Like, I usually fucking hate narration, where it's like, show me, don't tell me type of thing, but it really sets it up, Richard Dreyfuss just saying, the friends you had when you were 12, you really immediately do think about the friends that you had when you were 12. And then it makes you think about like, then there was that one time when you all didn't hang out ever again, like, and it's poignant, it makes sense to me. And, way more now than it ever did then. Cause back then I'm just like, yeah, cursing and trains.
Well, when we were watching it, or when I was watching it, I was 11 and 12, and so a very different take on it. Watching it as I prepared for this podcast, because even now I hadn't seen it in 6 or 7 years, and I don't know how long it was before that. So anyway, we can come back to that. But I was about 12, so we were watching it as a kid's movie at that time.
Like something I didn't understand, when you're a kid and you're watching this, a lot of this comes back to that. But like, so like Vern comes to the treehouse and he's like, hey, listen here, you guys, you want to see a dead body? And everyone flips out and he's like, what we should do is blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, yeah, we should do that. Then Vern's like, no, I don't think I can. What the fuck is that? They have to convince him. He's the one who came up with the idea. God damn it.
That's Vern.
Fucking Vern. We real quick, we got to talk about the cast here. I mean, those kids, it's Jerry O'Connell's first film. He's like 11.
He was the youngest.
And he's just doing the job. Like, he's naturally talented. Like, obviously, R.I.P. River Phoenix, man. Like, he's throwing heat.
So he was 15 when they were.
And everyone is just, like, killing it. Like, Will Wheaton has a storied career after that. I mean, shit. Corey Feldman, what can we say? I mean, I don't want to trash the guy, he's got some stuff, but he, this is right after Goonies and right before Cocaine. Sorry.
I'm trying to. So this is right before the Lost Boys, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, a couple. So this is 86. Lost Boys is, I want to say 87, 88. So it's like, it's right in the wheelhouse there. It's right there. And, like he's so promising in this movie. Like, he's got so many little bits and beads, like that are just, oh man, he's great. And they're all great. They're all great. And obviously, everyone knows that, including Rob Reiner, is just like, yeah, these kids are magic, and but anyway, back to our kind of timeline here. The mom, Gordy's mom, she's like the quintessential 80s mom, and she's in like every fucking 80s film. She's the mom from what do I got here? Let me check my notes. She's in Gremlins, Footloose, Back to the fucking Future. It's like those are.
Wait. She's in Back to the Future.
When they go, she's, I guess Marty's grandma. When he goes Back to the Future. Right. Oh, come on, silly! No one has two TVs.
That's right.
She's that lady.
John, yes.
Yeah, she's I guess you would say the silent, churchy wife from Footloose, and the tortured wife from Gremlins. Gremlins
I forgot about that.
So she's throwing heat in the 80s. And the dad's played by Marshall Bell. You know what he's good at? Playing a huge dickhead, because Gordy's dad is the biggest dickhead of all time. He's in Total Recall, and lest we not forget Operation Dumbo Drop. We all love that one.
Pivotal.
So anyway, so they decide they're going to go. They get to, they're getting their walk on, their train track on, and so they get to the junkyard, and I have in my notes here, I'm like, should I sort of bit here? It's like the canceled corner. It's where we, talk about things we're not allowed to be in movies anymore. And the biggest one that I have in the biggest letters here is little boys talking about tits.
Mickey Mouse Club. When the A and the E start curving around the sides.
And it's like, I know I'm a member of that club, but I'm just like, as a 39-year-old guy, I'm just like, it's a little bit tougher to stomach. And obviously there's not one black person in this film.
No.
It is what it is. It is I'm not, whatever. But also, does it pass the Bechdel test?
No. Come on. Not even. The only woman we see in the film is mom.
Sure. Nope. There's the Tupper Babe.
Oh, the Tupper Babe. That Tupper Babe sauce.
And
it was like cherry bomb sauce.
And hold on a second. There are women in the vomit scene.
The vomit scene. Okay.
So we'll get there.
Right.
I have a quote here that just rings so true, that I just think is so pivotal for, not pivotal, but just it just rings true to little boys. Finding new and preferably disgusting ways to degrade a friend's mother was always held in high regard. Which is not untrue, and we're going to bring that back towards the last scene with Mr. Chambers and Gordy LeChance. But I have to reiterate, Gordy's dad is a real sack of shit. I understand that he's in pain. He lost his son.
So in real life, Will Wheaton's dad was also
sack of shit,
horrible, right?
Horrible person.
And so I was thinking about that. I didn't know that, of course, when we were watching it in 1986. But now I thought, wow, he had a well that he could tap into.
Hell yeah, indeed. So he's just like, fuck you, Dad.
Man.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty. God damn it, Will Wheaton is. God damn, he's so good. So he goes to get the. This is what I'm also confused about. Like, what does he buy at the shop owner's store? Like, I guess just ground beef.
It looks like ground beef and buns, right? And I thought
I don't think buns.
No, he bought buns.
Okay.
I saw it last night.
All right.
It also looked like he bought 4 Cokes, but we never see those Cokes again. But he does put them on the counter.
Who was the prop supervisor? God damn it!
Who was that?
We're gonna have her head on this show.
Here's another note that I noticed last night. I have no idea how to pronounce that shopkeeper's name, even though we see it on the front of the building.
Oh, the character's name, you mean?
Yes, correct.
No idea.
But it's something long and complicated. but he is in The Sopranos. He plays
He's
Dr. Fagoli.
Yes, he is Bruce Kirby.
Yes.
That's Bruno Kirby's dad. Bruno Kirby from like fucking When Harry Met Sally, Godfather 2, R.I.P. and Entourage, which I think is canceled now, but you know, whatever. We'll save that for the canceled corner for next week.
Yeah, so I immediately recognized him as Russ Fagoli.
Good call. Good call. I kind of hated how he's just like, hey, kid, you Denny LeChance's bro? He's dead though. Man, he was a great football player. And he's like, yeah, cool. Can I get the ground beef? And he's like, yeah, he's dead. He's like, yep, I'll take the buns too. What's the total? He's like, yeah, your brother though. He's a guy. Shut the fuck up.
He says,
let me out of here.
What do you do? What do you
do?
And he said, I don't know.
I don't know. And then the old adult looks at him like he's an asshole. He's a fucking 12-year-old. Give him a break.
So, in the book that this is based on, The Body,
The Body by
right?
Stephen King.
So the shop owner puts a finger on the scale, right? And rips him off a little bit. And when I was watching this, I couldn't remember because I've read the book.
I've read the book too, but I don't remember that part. What an asshole.
And I was watching the movie and I kept waiting for that to happen. Then I said, I forgot. They omitted that. The whole point of that scene was for us to get a comparison between Gordy and his brother.
Right. Oh, shit. Yeah. We've got some thunder going on out here. To my many, many listeners. Sorry, fans. What do we call the fans of this? The 30s.
The 30s?
The Tharpies.
Okay, the Tharpies. Oh, I love the Tharpies.
Back to the junkyard. This is another great thing where, like, Stephen King goes on big, in the novel, about, like, the rumors that you hear about things, versus what they actually are, and just lore and towns,
Chopper.
And fucking Chopper, sick balls and all that. And God, they're like, it's like they are friends and stuff. I'm still just going back to like degrading each other's mothers. It's like we all get older and we're just like, yeah, I love your mom. What are you talking about? Not in in a regular humanistic way. I love your mother. Anyway, but yes. So Chopper, sick balls. Poor Teddy gets he gets completely ranked by this guy, and he's like, God, that scene's kind of tough, he's just like, listen here, you little fuck, like he's just eating them for lunch, and he's just like, like,
you little tin weasel peckerwood loony son.
What did you call me?
I know who you are. You're Teddy Duchamp. Your dad's a loony up in the nut house in Togus. He took your ear and he put it to a stove and he burnt it off.
My father stormed the beach in Normandy.
He's crazier than a shithouse rat. No wonder you're acting the way you are, with a loony for a father.
You call my dad a loony again, and I'll kill you.
Loony, loony, loony.
Ah! I'm gonna rip your head off and shut down your neck! No! I'm gonna kill him!
Come on and try it, you little...
So can we introduce the Cobras?
Cobra snakes.
The Cobras are basically one of my favorite movie gangs of all time.
You're gonna make me fuck up the snake part.
You're gonna make me fuck up the snake part. Like, every single person has like a half of Pall Mall fucking unfiltered cigarette in their mouth.
Man.
It's brilliant.
Can we go back to Teddy real quick?
Of
Teddy
course,
Duchamp?
absolutely.
So this just occurred to me. So all three of the boys have a moment where we learn something about the challenges in their life and their pain. The only one that we don't see that from is Vern.
Nope. The only thing we know about Vern is his brother is Billy Tessio.
Is a hoodlum. And he lost his pennies.
He lost his pennies, poor bastard. That's another funny. He's like 9 months, man.
7 cents, Vern.
7 cents. I haven't found my pennies. But yeah, we don't learn. Obviously, Teddy and Chris have kind of abusive parents, basically.
Clearly. Physically.
We don't really learn that much about, I mean, obviously, Teddy is being raised by his mother, I'm guessing, right? Mm-hmm. Because his dad is in the loony bin.
In the loony bin in Tokus.
In Tokus, yeah, indeed. Dude, the rage that Corey Feldman is throwing together to like climb the fence and be like, this motherfucker, it is palpable.
And now we know that he is also an abused kid, right?
Indeed.
So tapped right into that.
Indeed. And he's like, his jokes are so funny. Like his comedic timing is all there. Like that guy was something special, man. Like, not that he's still not, I mean,
He was special, and I noticed on the watch this time, because I watched it on an HD TV, I'd never caught the prosthetic ear before.
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
Yeah, because I'd always watched it on an old tube TV,
which is part of the lore. Like, you know, and they try to kind of like they shoot away from it, they shoot around it, but it's in scenes. You know, like it's a burned ear. You know, like his dad in a drunken rage like held his head to the stove or whatever.
He's also the only character that is wearing, not wearing Converse, but he's wearing
army boots.
Yeah, he's got the army belt. Yep. I mean, the dog tags.
Because he he loves his dad, even though his dad's been completely abusive to him.
He stormed the beach at Normandy. Also sets the time, right?
100%, because then you're like, oh yeah, that's like 12 years before or whatever, 10 years before. So, I'd like to talk about the Cobras.
Okay.
Like, right off the bat, I'm just like, man, these hoods, dude, I love the style. Like, Ace is, I don't know, maybe it just says something about my personality, but I'm like, I don't know, I kind of want to be Ace.
Of course you do.
Like, this dude's the man.
Ace is commanding.
But he's also like, when I'm a kid, I'm like, oh, he's a bully, he's the bad guy. When I get older and I'm rewatching this movie, he's like, if either one of you had $2,000, I'd kill you both.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and you believe Kiefer Sutherland in this.
He's matter of fact.
He's just like, I'd kill you. How old are these kids? They're 20? 16? I don't know. Like, I think they're trying... Probably in the novel, they're 17, 16.
That would be my guess.
But they're legit like 22, 23. And I also love the whole riff on, no, man, you need to get yourself a Protestant.
Yeah.
as it is. Oh,
or
gosh.
Jew. He
Yeah,
also says
he goes, Jews are nice.
Jews are nice. I did not like in the beginning when Eyeball snatched Gordy's Yankees cap that his brother gave him.
Okay, so,
that bothered me.
Hey, girls, where you going?
Hey, come on, man. My brother gave me that.
And now you're giving it to me.
Give it to me. Come on, man. That's mine. You a real asshole. You know that?
Ooh. Your brother's not very polite, Eyeball. Now, Christopher, I know you didn't mean to insult my friend.
I know I didn't mean to insult me. That's why I'm going to give him the opportunity of taking it back.
Oh, shit.
Take it back.
Oh, come on, man. Stop it. You're hurting him. Bastard, let go, man. Stop it, man.
Take it back,
cut it out.
kid.
Oh, cut it
Take
out.
it back.
Okay, I take it back.
So many people talk about this. Like, people ask Stephen King and Will Wheaton about this. Why once towards the end of the film, spoiler alert, that when he pulls a fucking pistol on him, is he not like, give me my fucking hat back? It's my brother's hat. And he's like, because that hat's gone. He's like, they don't give a fuck about that hat. Like, they got in the car, they threw that hat in the garbage can immediately. It's not about the hat. It's like they're just torturing little kids. They don't give a shit about that. Like, and probably just wouldn't have played. I think there was a piece in it where they did like, where's my hat, whatever, and it's like, whatever. Also, we'll get there in a second.
So they're hanging out. Where are they hanging out in that scene? It looks like they're in a junkyard. Well, when they're carving.
Oh yeah, when they're giving self razor blade scar tattoos. You fuck up the snake part.
Quit moving! You gotta make me fuck up the snake part.
Random junkyard.
That's what it looks like. An ace is shining something that looks like a piece of a wheel. Like
I'm thinking a hubcap of sorts, or a like a hood ornament. I want to say
everybody's got a cigarette hanging out of their mouth.
Everyone's got a cigarette. So, but not
there's
the same
a clear hierarchy,
right? Not the same junkyard that the little boys are. Different junkyard. There is a clear hierarchy. I believe with Billy Tessio being at the lowest rung.
He doesn't really even fit in that gang, in my opinion.
Not at all. He is the black sheep of the gang. Anytime he says anything, they're like, "Shut the fuck up."
Also, I just want to note that Eyeball Chambers talks like he mimics a woman or a homosexual a lot in the movie.
Okay.
And he is a little too good at it.
Okay. All right. He's also in a couple. I don't have the actor's name here, but like a couple years later, he is henchman number 2 in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. There's a little fast fact for you there. So anyway, the kids are, creeping into the night, and they get their they get their. I just love the whole cooking a ball of ground beef on a stick. Man, that has got to be tough. That's got to be tough as shit. I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, like, as a kid, I assume they're like doing like hot dogs or something, and I'm like, that is a ball
of beef that they've carried in their backpack
all
day,
fucking day long, and it's the summer, or it's the end.
And then
summer.
Vern drops his in the fire.
His is probably the best one though, because I mean, like, that's been just sitting in a backpack.
Oh man.
So yeah, then Gordy tells the pie eating story, so we have to get into the pie eating.
Gotta talk about lard ass.
It's my least favorite part of the movie, I guess. Like,
watching it now,
all the prosthetic not prosthetic, but I mean, like, you can tell, like, all, like, everyone has to get shown from the side when they vomit, and it's like, no one vomits like that. That's not how it works. Like, it's, even for 86, it's super obvious, and I hate it. And Billy Hogan's fat suit is just laughable.
It looks like pillows.
On. Yeah, dude. I'm like, come on, man. Like, whatever. Like, I'm the shitty podcaster and you're the movie maker, but I still just be like, yo, Rob Reiner, man, what's up with that?
So if we were going to give them a little grace on this, I was thinking, so I noticed the vomit scene, the way they're doing the vomit from the side is really, it's really bad. It's pretty obvious. But then I thought, is he just displaying what this would look like in their imaginations? The whole geyser.
That's
of
a
vomit.
great. I've never thought about that, and that kind of plays into the fat suit as well. Even
and that jar, that bottle of castor oil. Come on, that thing's huge. Nobody can drink that.
Well, it is a movie, but like, so obviously we're going to suspend our disbelief and everything.
But even beyond that, this is what are they picturing in their minds?
Precisely,
spinning the
like,
tail.
And it's more about William Hogan's revenge. I guess, and how he's just like, you gotta love that. Like, you gotta love the story. Like in the, it's a whole different set of stories in the novel, or the novella, or whatever you want to call it. Like, that's like a smaller one in that one, but like, I don't know, man. The whole Barfarama thing, like, but then my favorite part about, the story ends, and the boys cheer, and he's like, so then what happens? Like, he's like, I don't know. Goes home and celebrates the cheeseburger, and then Teddy goes, no, I got this. How about he goes home and he shoots his father, which is so telling, and it's like, and he joins the Texas Rangers.
That's right.
you're like, as a child, I'm like, man, shut up, Teddy, and now I'm like, Oh, poor Teddy, man.
Yeah, poor
You're
Teddy.
an abused fucking kid, man.
And Vern's like, I'm confused.
Yes.
Did he have to pay to enter the contest?
Oh, God damn it. It's so fucking great. It was like, no, Vern. They just let him in.
They just let him in.
It's brilliant. Like,
He's like, okay, great, good story.
Oh, yeah, then never mind, I'm back in. as if all of a sudden he was not in.
That's what he was hung up on.
That's what he's hung up on.
Man.
And then the kind of boy talk montage is great. Like, because that's the shit that fucking 12-year-olds talk about or whatever. Like, for any time period, you know, like, I don't know. They probably just TikTok about shit now. But,
Probably. But I like the way what they said was before girls, before they were interested in girls.
It's not
So
like,
this is
man,
what they were
this
talking
I'm so, like, because all that whole tits thing, you know, it's like, that's just like big talk. It seems like, you know, like they're you know, like they don't have relationships with women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they're not in junior high yet. You know, like you know, it doesn't really kind of start until then. And it's like, you know, the quote unquote important things that you talk about before you discover girls. And it's heavy, and it's like, so they're talking, you know, about fucking Mickey Mouse and Goofy. And
what is Goofy?
And we still can't figure that
what
out,
is Goofy?
by the way. You know, 35 years later, we're still trying to figure out
So
what the fuck
they're
Goofy
talking
is.
about what is Goofy, and they're also, one of my favorite lines, there's nothing like a smoke after a meal.
Which is another thing. It's like, but to me, I feel like that's things that their fathers say.
Yep.
You know, like, or things they hear older boys say, and they're all bad at smoking, except for River Phoenix.
That's right.
He looks like he's a cigarette smoker. And that's just one of those things where, like, Vern, you know, Jerry O'Connell being the youngest, you know, like, he's 11, so he's just like holding things, being like, and I'm sure like his mom's on set being like, Rob Reiner, quit telling my son to smoke better.
So I read that Rob Reiner was a huge anti-smoking campaigner. And what did he say? It was made out, the cigarettes were packed with some type of leaf. I can't remember what
Marijuana.
it was. Yeah. Wouldn't that have been great?
Oh, hold on a second. We completely jumped over the bridge scene.
Well, I wondered if we were going to come back to that.
Well, here we are.
Okay, great.
Obviously,
Oh, so intense.
it is so intense as a kid. You're
Yes.
watching that shit. Like, what's the what they use for the like? There's a telephoto compression is what they use, like, to make it look like the train is right behind them.
That was
you know,
scary.
Like, and as a kid, though, like, my confusion was, how are they at a dead run right now with all those, like, whole, you know, and
Thank you.
And
with the spacing between the railroad ties.
So then
yes.
there's one single shot of just the feet running, and there's plyboard in between them all, just to get that shot, and they just left it because apparently Rob Reiner just really wanted the foot shot, because they're not running like that. You're gonna jab your fucking foot in there and break your ankle and die and get run over by a train. But then there's a great story about they can't get the kids to freak out. You know, like, they're just like, all right, action. You know, they back the train up, you know, action, you know, run, you know, and they're like, ah, and they're like, Rob Reiner goes up to Jerry O'Connell and he goes, you see all those people over here? We're in overtime right now, and they'd like to be at home with their fucking families. And the only thing that's keeping them from that is you. I want you to know that. So can we go again? He's legitimately crying. And he's like, no, action. No, even faster. These fucking people want to go home. And he's like just crying. It's like, it's real tears. And that's just like it's kind of some Nazi shit, but I mean, whatever. Like, you know, it's kind of sad, but like, they got the shot.
They got the shot.
And then the worst matte painting ever, where they jump off the bridge. It's 86. You know,
It's 86.
I can't be mad at it. It's the only, like, real special effects shot in the whole film, and it is fucking god awful.
It's terrible. And then they cut to
Them on the ground.
Yeah, and then you see like they landed in the one patch of dirt surrounded by all these rocks.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
wow. Good job, guys.
Hey, good for you. At least we know when the next train is due.
Forever after that, I wanted to be able to put my hand on the track
and feel
the vibration
from the rail. Yeah, for sure. As a person who has hung out around a lot of train tracks,
me too.
Never once happened. Not the one time. So when they stand watch, the sound design in this is fucking great. Like the wolf howl. Me and my brother, future guest James Tharp, we we camp out a lot at the land or whatever, and we call it verning. Like whenever you're just like alone in the woods and you're like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck is that? Like, it's great him walking around the tree and like the left and right of the pistol. And just
that was hilarious. I caught that again on the rewatch. I thought that the timing on that was perfect. The shot was perfect.
Yeah, it's so good, and he's terrified.
He is.
Should
this kid have a gun? Like, that's what a terrible idea.
We really didn't even go over the fact that they have a gun. A fucking 45. I got this gun. We'll just carry this gun with us. That'll be all right.
Came in handy.
Right. And so then Teddy is hilarious during this, the whole montage or whatever. He's like, the dog face rests. Shit's great.
I like Teddy. Come on, man.
Up,
Shut up, Teddy.
He's doing taps and shit. And then the whole, like, did I take the milk money scene? Dude, River Phoenix is just laying it down, man.
Just never thought. I never thought a teacher. Oh, gives a fuck anyway. I just wish that I could go someplace where nobody knows me.
He's showing you what he can show you.
That scene is so poignant.
It's great. They're all just great. Like, these are just little boys that are just fucking throwing 100 miles an hour, and he also kind of wakes up from the grave scene, which is just super disturbing. The grave dream rather, and he's like, should have been you, Gordo. Oh. You're just like, god damn.
Yeah.
Had to keep that Stephen King darkness in there, I suppose. Also, in the notes here, I have it. I bet these kids really smell bad right here.
Okay. I was hoping we'd get back to this. I did not notice until I watched it on an HD screen again how filthy these kids really were.
They get progressively filthier.
I mean, they're dirty.
For sure. For sure. So they wake up the next day. They're fucking filthy.
Filthy.
There's the deer scene, which is sweet, which is so nice. And he's like, I never told anyone about this until right now. I thought that was a great piece in there. And then it's like, should we cut across the river? The best part about this whole thing is, well, no, guys, Vern's doing Vern, and they all, come on, man, let's charge, whatever. The Vern fall is the funniest shit ever. Like, and it looks just real as fuck.
It sure does.
So
you've got Teddy acting like his sleeping bag is a machine gun.
Right.
And making the machine gun sound.
And they're just running their asses off.
Vern biting the dust.
Vern eats shit like face over heels. Like it's
hilarious.
Bad. So kind of back to Ace. Like, why does the gang even fucking care about this? It's like See, they're talking. This is the whole. If either you had $2,000, I'd kill you. Like, they're hoods. Like I don't feel like they're. Ace isn't a let's get on TV type of guy. Mm-mm. Ace is like let's rob the TV guy. I don't like. Why does he even care? Why does he even give a fuck about it? Like, they're all talking about like like it's like. It's a montage, of like everyone squealing, I guess, and telling the truth, like apparently our mother's good names are worth nothing, whole thing,
But they
like,
kept their secret for a full 36 hours.
Yeah, exactly, which is great narration, and it's just like we're gonna go up there, we're gonna take it, like why does Ace even fucking?
I never
care?
did understand that. I could understand if there was a reward attached to it,
absolutely,
a monetary reward.
I feel like Billy,
the kids want.
I feel like anyone else wants to be on TV, or even Billy Tessio, Vern's brother, the lowest rung on the pole.
Vern, you son of a bitch! You were under the porch, wasn't you?
Yeah, wasn't you?
You was under the porch, wasn't you? Love that. Okay, yeah, right. I didn't get that
Ace
either.
even give a shit? Like,
I never did
what's
get that.
his kind of investment in this? Anyway, so Swamp Walk. Ugh. I can't tell you as a young boy how disturbing this whole thing was for me, because I'm just like, nope, do not get in any water. There's going to be a leech on your balls momentarily.
When Gordy pulls his
it's super bloody,
dingy whities.
Yeah, dude, it's bloody, and he. God
it's so bloody, and it's like, how did that? So
I'm just
other
thinking about my penis and
off.
blood, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to think about this. Like, and like,
then he passes out,
and then he passes out, and but also then all their clothes are dry.
Amazing.
Immediately dry.
So amazing. And every other leech leaves a barely discernible mark, but that ball leech.
Well, it was that
bright.
much longer. It was that much longer, and I think it was. I'm not gonna knock the science of this one, because I feel like it's it's on a fleshy part of your back or something for and then like maybe 30 seconds longer on your balls. I feel like this thing, but like it's. Even as a kid, I'm like, this is graphic as hell.
Yep.
That is a bloody. Ugh. Yeah, it's tough. So to this day, I'm terribly frightened of leeches.
That is a pivotal.
I've never even seen a leech.
I haven't either. I've often wondered about that. Well, anyway. So that's also a pivotal moment for Gordy, because they're discussing going back, right? He passes out. He's got a bloody leech on his balls. And the other three are like, oh, maybe we should take Gordy back.
Yeah, and he's like, maybe he's a pussy, or maybe he can't hang.
And Gordy's like, no.
But and they're kind of bickering about whatever 12-year-old boys bicker about.
But then they see like he's
and he's like,
he's
stop
serious
it.
about
And he's
this.
dead serious.
Yeah.
And he's like, this isn't fun. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna find him.
Yep.
And they're just hell bent on seeing a fucking dead body, which is shit. I mean, like, that's some 12-year-old shit, I guess. Like John Singleton does it a couple years later in '91 in Boys in the Hood.
That's right.
Hey, y'all want to see a dead body? Like. He had said that he took a lot of that from this, but just make it, kind of in urban environment, and which is, but to them, it's like, oh yeah, there's that guy over here. He's over in the park,
There was
and
a lot of
they have to hike
Yes.
for, which turns out to be like whatever, 20 miles or some shit.
I don't know. It'd take me a while to hike 20 miles.
I mean, like in 2 days, I think that's a pretty. I think you can get there in 2 days, 20 miles.
I don't know. I'm not.
I also find the timeline a little dubious. Like,
sure.
did they meet at the clubhouse in the second or third scene at 6:30 in the morning and then leave at 7:30 in the morning? And I'll suspend my disbelief about that. Bringing it back to the Cobras and the chicken scene. Ace does not give a fuck. Ace has a death wish. And this is also, I'm like, dude, man, fuck Gordy. I want to be like Ace. I'm like, yeah, man.
He's tough.
Also, like, it's just like, why, what are the rules of this chicken game? You know, it's like, he's like, I got him. What do you mean? Like, you're in he speeds, I don't know. Is it a, I'm not going to.
I didn't quite understand, but I did notice that Kiefer Sutherland, Ace, has a toothpick in his mouth. Mm-hmm. And at one point, he takes a drink of his beer and never removes the toothpick. And I was like, this guy's a boss.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I want to drink a beer with a toothpick and a beer here. I want to be 17 someday.
So I kept looking at, they were drinking beers at every scene, right? Uh-huh. I was trying to figure out what they were drinking. I thought I saw High Life at least once. That
would make sense. Oh, that would make complete sense.
But then there are some brown bottles. I didn't know what those were.
So
if they were period appropriate.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, like I think High Life is very
well. The champagne of beers has been around for a long time,
and it's still around. The only way I can drink it is if it's like in an ice cold bottle, like in a can.
Ice cold.
I ain't messing with it. I can't do it. Mm-hmm. They used to sell a 36 rack of that. Jesus.
So they were drinking beer in every scene.
Except, I don't think they're drinking beer in the Cobra tattoo scene. I could be wrong about that, but I mean, like, but they're hoods.
I don't know.
It's right before school. Mm-hmm. Also, Ace Merrill, the character, is a character in the Stephen King universe. You know, he shows up in other stories around that. I think he's in like Needful Things. Mm-hmm. And he's also in the Dark Tower series. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just love their boots. They all wear
They do.
The biker. I guess these days you'd call it like biker boots, but back in those days you call them engineering boots. Mm-hmm. Those things are badass. I'm not cool enough to wear them though.
Did you notice? I caught it this on the last watch that Kiefer Sutherland, his access and his manner of speech is so different than everyone else. He's so articulate and crisp.
Oh yeah, because everyone else is a fucking knucklehead.
Right.
You know, like, everyone else is a boner in his fucking quote unquote crew. Mm-hmm. You know, where he's like super. You think he almost like came out of fucking
in command. Where did this guy come from?
He was just reading Shakespeare moments ago, and now he's about to switchblade the shit out of your mouth. You know, and you know what I mean, like. But yeah, like that's why you like that character. He's fucking great, man. Like and Kiefer Sutherland in general is in the 80s especially. I don't know, like what's a better Kiefer role than this? Really, I never watched 24, and I don't give a shit.
I've never watched that either. So as Ace,
hold on a second. I got it. You know, it's a pretty damn good Kiefer role. A Few Good Men. As whatever he is in that.
Who is he in A Few Good Men?
He's he's the dude who told the other dudes to kick the dude's ass to death.
I forgot about that.
No, he's throwing heat in that. He's good. But I mean, really though, now that I'm thinking, obviously,
the Lost Boys
is his fucking role. Mm-hmm. You know,
he's the consummate lead vampire,
and he's kind of just the same guy. Actually, here's what happened. Ace Merrill became that vampire. It's like a year later. It's the same guy. Go ahead. What do you got?
You know what else I was just thinking about is that I caught it this time when I watched it, is that this is set in Oregon. I'm so used to everything of Stephen King's being set in Maine.
Yes.
That I didn't realize that they moved the location for this movie. And of course, because they filmed it in Oregon. So that was kind of eye-opening to me this time, too.
I think it's also just like, it's so like neutral. Like, you could see that in any Midwestern anything, like, you know, like these fields, these forests, that could be fucking
everything except
anywhere.
for the trestle. That trestle is pretty. The train trestle.
Yep, that is Oregon.
That's remarkably. That's west.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
But otherwise,
that is Oregon all day long.
we don't have any gorges like that here. But anyway, yeah.
Well, hold on one second. We got to do an ad read. This episode of Tharp and 30 is brought to you by... No, I can barely even do this. I was doing so good. This episode of Tharp and 30 is brought to you by the Iran-Contra affair. Now back to our previously scheduled programs.
Okay, one thing I have to throw in here when I was watching this at 11, 12 years old, there was a lot of anticipation. It's the first time I saw it leading up. I was
just about to talk about this. Thank you.
To seeing this dead body at the end. I mean, we didn't know what to expect, how gruesome it was going to be.
Exactly.
And, I mean, what kid at that age has really seen a dead body?
Sure. Well, besides like a funeral.
In the wild, if you will.
Indeed. Yeah. I mean, has anyone... I've never seen a dead body in the wild. Like...
Yep, nope, not even to this day.
But thank
God.
Indeed. And now, you know, the older you get, you're like, maybe that's why Gordy's obsession with it is because of Dennis, his brother. You know, like, he's like...
Totally.
Why do they want to do this so badly? You know, like, why do 12-year-olds want to do fucking anything, I guess? But I mean, like, but I think a lot of it has to do with that, like, you know, just being at his brother's funeral, you know, like, I don't know, like, it's maybe that's part of the obsession. But yeah, totally. Like, so you see I mean, as a watcher, as you know, as the audience, you're like, what is going to happen? You know, like. So
at this point in the movie, we know that they're close, and I think once they're out of the leeches in the river scene,
Bloody Balls, yes, we call it Bloody Balls Swamp over here.
Right after There's Bloody Balls Swamp, that says that. Cut to the next scene, and they are. On the tracks, and you just know that they're getting like close to the old Harlow Road.
But it's awesome because it's very much like Show Me, Don't Tell Me, which they do it, which he does a great job of it. Like, you know, it's like, hey, Teddy, is this the back Harlow Road? He's like, yep, straight up. So you know what's happening. And it's like, we'll take this side, you take that side. And then Vern's like, I see him.
I mean, I could remember the hair on the back of my neck standing up the first time I watched this in the anticipation. Like, was I going to be able to handle seeing this dead body? What was this going to look like? And then the first shot, when Vern sees the body, all you see is the legs, right? Yeah. And they're all akimbo.
Yeah.
And
like, I mean, like, you know, it's easy to kind of, you know, joke about shit or do whatever. It's like, but then the movie gets super hyper real. Even thinking about it right now, even watching it 2 nights ago, I'm just like, shit, this is serious. Like, and because they're just showing the legs, you know, and these are little boys, you know, and it's insane shit. It's tough, you know, and they're obsessed with it at this point. And they just walk up on him, and then the narration comes back, and he's like, the kid wasn't sleeping, the kid was dead. And
it talks about how the train knocked him out of his keds.
Knocked him out of his keds, you know, like, also, I mean, that's pretty far to knock him out. I don't want to be
I was wondering about that when I watched it last night.
I'm like, knocked him 180 feet. Also, Ray Brower is an idiot. I mean, like, was he picking blueberries with his head stuffed up his ass? I don't know. Like because hey, sorry, Ray Brower. Shout out to a future guest, Ray Brower's ghost.
Who played Ray Brower?
Kent Luttrell.
I should have known.
He's a famous stuntman, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Been a lot of stuff. I don't have it on my notes, but I've heard he's been in stuff.
Okay. So,
But that's his first thing, and he did a piece in the New Yorker or something where he was like, it's more disturbing than you think to play a dead person. You know, like, you're like, no, just deader than that though. He's
I've
like,
never
okay,
thought
hold
that.
on a second. How about this? No, deader than that. Paint more blood on his face. But like, here's the other thing. Like, so at this point,
how
this
does he
is
lay there that long with his eyes kind of crossed?
right.
For real.
But also, here's the other. I hate to get too dark and deep into this, but I mean, like, so how long are we talking here? This is a week
Okay.
after.
I had this thought too. Yes.
You're a scientist. You get into
Look,
to this type
Ray
of shit.
Brower would
like,
not be. Ray Brower looked like that in the first hour.
5 minutes after. Yeah, dude. I
Beyond
mean, like,
that,
this is like a week, right?
Yeah, I mean,
We're thinking a week.
we're into if this were scientifically accurate, this is a mess.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a
this
mess.
is terrible.
And it does not smell great.
Oh, it's bad.
So I really think that once
It is distorted.
I really think that once the Cobras come up and they want to fight with the little boys, they leave immediately just because of the smell.
So I did not understand why Ace gave up so easily. I mean, yes, Gordy has a gun, and he does say,
Gordy has a gun.
"Come on."
He realizes that. Hold
Ace
on a second. Hold on a second.
Okay.
So they're like, let's build him a stretcher. But right before the Cobras come in, he's like, yes, find some sticks. Let's build him a stretcher. I'm like, you're going to carry this motherfucking stinking ass dead body
You bet.
20 fucking miles back? Are you insane? Let's build him a stretcher.
The one and only time that
the
Teddy
fuck outta here.
Teddy gives no argument and just says, "Okay, man," and walks off with Vern.
Because yeah, the only time, you know, like
The only time he's completely like amenable to that's a suggestion.
yeah, dude, I love it because I think he's just like, holy shit, this motherfucker is dead as fuck. I'm traumatized again. So then the Cobras come up, you know.
We can't skip over the fact that they had a very poignant and heavy scene.
Indeed, you know, like it should have been me, you know, like my dad hates me. I almost wish that Chris would have been like, yes. But he was like, no, he just doesn't know you. Which is also true, but he also hates him. Dude, Gordy's dad is a shitbag.
He's terrible.
Meanwhile, Chris's dad is the biggest shitbag of them all, and he's like carrying everyone else. R.I.P. Chris Chambers. Just saying, because that's heavy. You know, like.
And it's a stabbing.
These boys are. We'll get there, but these boys are 12. That's what I still just. I just remember like on that cusp of turning, 13. Like.
They're
where
still
we're
able to be
are we
vulnerable.
about to smoke cigarettes? Like I'm like, I've seen Stand By Me. I think this is the time we start smoking cigarettes. Pretty much like, but so yeah, that scene is hardcore. Like they're just telling the truth, and they're just, they're doing the thing. Like you can tell they're very much kindred spirits. Like they understand each other. Like
Yeah.
And
Gordy's brother was killed as a teenager in a Jeep accident.
Right.
And now for the first time he's
Do you
seeing...
think the Jeep got paid for that? Why couldn't they just say car accident?
Not gory enough.
Right. Like it was a Jeep accident.
We have to understand that his
Denny was mangled in it.
Denny was ejected like Ray Brower.
Yes, he was
right?
on a mountain
Ejected.
getting his Jeep on.
Yeah, because I think that's the whole thing, right? That's why Gordy is he's like, he can reconcile this now. He has some understanding maybe of what happened.
Well, like also
what happened to Denny, I don't know.
It kind of goes back. We didn't mention this earlier, but like, the whole like, do you think I'm weird? conversation, you know, and he's like, yeah, of course I do,
course.
but everyone's weird. He's not wrong, but he's like, no, but please tell me. He's like, am I weird because I want to write stories? Like, you know, like maybe I'm an artist, maybe I'm this person, you know, like, am I weird? And he's like, no, like he's trying to tell me, he's like, no, man, you're like, I respect you. I think you're like the coolest dude.
And then he's
We're
like,
best friends.
fuck writing.
Right.
Like,
No, because he's exactly.
Gordy-
like,
Gordy is
Gordy,
like fuck
Gordy's
writing.
like fuck writing because he's struggling with, you know, I need to be like you guys, and Chris is like, you don't want to be like us, buddy. You know, like look at Vern over there falling down. He's an idiot.
Or as Gordy's dad says, a thief and two Phoebes.
A thief and two Phoebes.
I had to look up Phoebes when I was 12. I had to get my dictionary out and look up Phoebe.
I kind of got it.
I did too, but I had to look it up.
Sure. I kind of didn't understand the whole milk money story when I was a child, but then I'm like, oh shit. So, you know, the older you get, you see it a bit. I've seen this movie fucking so many times. And he's like, yeah, but he had he gave it back. You know, he had some conscious shit going on and conscience stuff going on, and then fuck you because you're a loser and I know I can exploit you.
That's exactly right.
And it's like everyone knows their place in this story. Like everyone is in their spot. And it's so crazy. Like Chris has like just settled into it. He's like, I'm the brother of Eyeball Chambers. I'm a loser. Nothing's going to happen for me. Which we'll get to in a bit when they talk about, you know, we're going to be, you know, building birdhouses with the rest of the losers or whatever, you know, like, and you're going to be great. And he's like, why can't you be great too? And he's like, well, and then we find out later that he was great, I guess. So
the Cobras.
So the Cobras come up on the tracks and, well, look at what we found here. Look here, you know, like, and there's, dude, so badass.
So
like
Eyeball and Ace
my
are the first
little
two
brother.
on the scene, right?
Yeah, yes.
But I
Yes.
love it when Billy Tessio comes in. He's like, he's a son of a bitch. You was under the porch, wasn't you, Vern?
It's well that only happens after it's like all of a sudden Teddy is like a badass. Teddy goes, there's two of you guys and four of us. Like these 12-year-olds are gonna kick the shit out of Ace and Eyeball. Get the fuck out of here. And then he like snaps and the rest of the guys come up. But it's like we're gonna get fucked up now. Like, but even 4-on-2. Everyone knows that, you know, at least one of the two has a switchblade. You know, like he knows that Ace has a switchblade, and you know, hey Ace, you know, there's 4 of us. I just think I think that's just kind of shoddy, right? Whatever. Anyway, so the rest of the Cobras come. And
come slithering down the
they come slithering down the old back hollow road. Oh, Vern, you was under the porch, weren't you? Yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Like it gets very serious.
So
like,
dark, so
like,
fast.
This is a fucking.
And he's threatening. Those blue eyes are ice cold. They're dead. Those are dead eyes.
Those are dead, ice cold blue eyes. And he's like, I'll kill you.
And he flips his switchblade and he's
switchblade.
like flipping it around in his hands.
Comes up, you know, and then bang, you know, Gordy has the pistol, and it's some of. Oh, okay, real quick, right before that happens, I have to say that.
And Eyeball's having some regrets too at this point. He's like,
don't kill my little
He's like,
brother.
"Come
This is
on."
going to be really hard for me at the dinner table tonight. Whenever you kill my brother Chris.
Eyeball's like, come on,
Hey,
man.
come on, what are you doing, man? Come on. And Eyeball's like, no, I'm going to kill someone right now. No worries for me. I'm insane.
Ace is like, I'm going for it. Fuck
so-
this guy.
So before that happens,
I should have put that cigarette in his eye.
right,
scenes ago.
earlier. I totally forgot about this whole thing, but Chris Chambers says, "Why don't you go fuck your mother some more?"
Yeah, that's
I can't deal with that. I don't remember that. Like, I'm sure that's not like been edited or whatever. I'm like, how did I? Maybe I was like, yeah, this is what I should say to people when I'm 12. So yeah, that one's that one's pretty gnarly. So once Gordy pulls the pistol, though, Will Wheaton is throwing 101 miles an hour, dude. Like, he's just like, I just love the line. He's like, "What, are you gonna kill us all?" It's like, "No, Ace, just you."
Suck my fat one, you cheap dime store hood.
What are you gonna do, shoot us all?
No, Ace. Just you.
It's the best thing ever. It's like some Wild West shit, you know?
It's so good.
It's, oh, god damn it. It's so great.
The sound of him.
It just drawing back the hammer, and he's like, "Nope, just you."
And Ace is like, "Come on, kid. You must have got some of your brother's good sense."
Right. And then that probably got him more fired up. He's like, "Don't bring my brother up. Like,
Wrong words.
I will fucking kill you." He's like, because he's like, "I'm not going to kill all these people. I don't care if they bum rush me, but I'm definitely going to kill you. You're a fucking piece of shit." I love it so much. It's like some sort of like vigilante justice, you know, like in the middle of the woods. And, you know, and Ace just being like, "Okay, well, I was born at night. What wasn't last night? I'm not going to let this kid shoot me. I got to get out of here. I'll kick the shit out of this.
Like, "Okay,
I'm going to go
kid."
kill this cat." Dude, that guy's such an insane person. He's like, "I'm going to go kill his dad tonight."
It's like, this isn't over.
And thankfully, you know, throughout the story, it looked like it was over. You know, like you know, in the epilogue or whatever.
It was not over in the novella.
Oh, not at all.
But I also love the line, "Suck my fat one,
Suck
you
my
cheap
fat
dime
one."
store hood."
It's great. I love it. You
It's
cheap
so-
dime store hood is
So
it
good.
kills.
And then the Cobras back off, and then we immediately get some levity when Chris looks at Gordy and says, "Whoever told you had a fat one
Yeah.
chance?"
Biggest one in 4 counties or some shit. And once again, that's how fucking 12-year-olds fucking talk.
Yeah.
And then Vern and Terry are like, "Oh, hey guys, how are you?"
I didn't think that
I
they
was
were
gonna kick some ass,
appropriately
too.
upset enough after that scene.
They were like,
just kind of
they
like,
should have came over like, "That was fucking crazy."
Right.
Did
they
you
were,
see
they,
what
they were
just
a little
happened?
too casual about it at that point. Like,
Yes.
all right, nobody's taking him. Okay, we got that.
So, you know, like nobody's taking him, and which I really feel like that was out of the fact they're tired. I don't think it was about our gang or your gang, and they're like, "Man, we can't
We
carry this
can't,
motherfucking
yeah, right.
dead, stinking ass body back. He's gonna fall apart on the way."
All right, look pretty intact.
And so then
Also,
it gets
where
like
were his kids? No, I'm sorry.
right. You know, then I was always confused about the fact that they were like, we figured that, you know, an anonymous call was the best move. And I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, man, there ain't no phone booth out there. And I'm like, when they got back. Got it.
They walked all the way back.
All the way back.
So they
which
said
they
very
never,
little.
who made the call?
I said neither their gang or our gang got the credit, right?
Right.
In the end, it was an anonymous call.
Right.
We don't know who made that call. We
Right.
assume it was them. There's no
I
way
would
Ace would
assume
make the
that
anonymous
no,
call.
fuck no.
No.
Like,
Their gang
it's
would.
it's the Gordy Gang.
It is, yeah.
That's the name of my new band that I'm starting tomorrow. Gordy Gang. Hashtag
Oh, I
Gordy
love
Gang.
that.
And then it kind of becomes like super real again. They get back, you know, hey, junior high, you know, like, which this whole piece like kind of reminds me of my own life again. You know, it gets super real again because this shit happens, you know, like what you never realized that one time this was the last time you hung out with all your friends, like those friends, and it was innocent enough or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that these people were, you know, and then it very, you know, in the kind of epilogue, it's like, you know, Vern and Teddy did this, and
So that they saw them less and less until they were just two faces in the hall.
right, like, and it's like,
That's cool.
it's even an awkward goodbye for the four of them who've spent this incredible adventure together.
Yeah.
You know, it's even, they all kind of know it. It's in the air, you know, like, oh, well, you know, my mom's going to be, you know, I'm going to be on the 10 most wanted list, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Vern walks off and he's like,
Penny.
Penny.
Great. So, you know, obviously we have the bookend epilogue, you know, with, you know, Chris dying in a stabbing fight. I'm like, what I don't understand about that is like, because he's like, Chris did take the college classes. We were friends.
He toughed it out like he always does.
He toughed it out like he always does. But I'm like, but you weren't friends with him? He says it like this is a distant memory. Like they weren't friends the whole way through. And it's like...
But he does say at the very end that he hadn't seen him in more than 10 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why is that? I thought you guys were best friends.
I just assumed that they remained friends.
So what you're saying is you're about to write the novella of that 10-year spot. You know, what happened there?
Whatever happened there.
It's the name of the novella. Whatever happened there. Starring Chris Chambers. Okay, so we go back to, you know, the bookend. Richard Dreyfuss. You know,
actually, that was written by Phil Leotardo. Whatever happened there?
Whatever happened? Good call. Yes. Whatever happened there? Whatever happened there? You mean when he killed my brother? That's fucking great. I love that. Whatever happened there?
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that's another podcast.
That's a different podcast. So when the bookend comes back, and you know, and he's kind of like on his 1985 Commodore keyboard, which is just great. And he's, oh, my dad does this, you know, he's like, he's writing all the time, whatever. Yeah, I get it. You know, like, I love the line, obviously, you know, it's like, you know, with friends, you know, whoever does, whatever is the kind of the last line.
I said it's something like, I never had friends like I did when I was 12. Jesus, does anyone?
Does anyone, rather. Good call. Good call. So obviously he is a millionaire writer, because did you see those fucking doors in that house?
That's exactly
like, is he
what
living
tipped me
in a
off.
castle?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
He lives in a 17th century fucking Dracula castle, because those doors weigh 450 pounds a piece.
With the ornate wood carvings.
Yeah, dude. It's like,
yeah.
And where are these children's mothers?
I don't know. And what was he driving?
Hold on.
I think it's badass.
It is a 60s Land Rover.
That's what it is. Okay.
It's so dope.
It's amazing.
Those things run for fucking ever. Did a little research on those. Okay. They will climb over Mount Everest. It's in the research.
Okay, so it's very clear that he's a very successful writer. Based on the environment that he's in, all it takes is that shot of the doorway to his office. And then as we look out through these windows, we see in the Circle Drive his amazing Land Rover?
Yes.
Anyway, yeah.
So there's also the Range Rover, which is like the more suburban version of that. Right. But yeah, the Land Rover, it throws heat for sure.
And that's what he's in the opening scene.
Yes, like reminiscing or whatever.
Sitting and he sees the
does
two
anyone
boys
have friends like, you know, when you were 12 years old or whatever? Richard Dreyfuss has said, you know, in years past, he's like, I was so high on cocaine in the 80s that I do not remember filming those bookends whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Oh, I was in that movie? Cool. Mm-hmm. kind of dig it,
Kind of like
dig it.
kind of like how Stevie Nicks and Tom Petty have said at different points that they completely forgot tours that they did.
Oh, whole tours.
Whole tours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I was going to mention here, so I was reading an article. Stephen King was interviewed after he screened this movie with Rob Reiner, and said that when the movie ended, he asked for 30 minutes by himself. And then when he reconvened with Rob Reiner, he said that was the most accurate screenplay or depiction of one of his books that he had ever seen.
Great.
To date. I mean, I guess it would have been to date then, but...
Because obviously they're very storied and shitty and
well,
a lot
this
of them
is a departure from... This is not horror. This isn't a horror genre, right?
Other than the fact that they're seeking out a dead body, yes.
But it's
sure.
not, there isn't a supernatural element to it, which is typical in King's writing. And the movie, the adaptation that came out right before this was Maximum Overdrive, which flopped.
Yes, directed by Stephen King and produced by a sentient bag of cocaine.
He wasn't sober yet at that point, right?
Oh, no, he was legit it's the only movie he's directed, and it's a nightmare.
I don't really remember it. I know I've seen it.
It's not great. It's funny. I mean, if you're looking for a comedy to watch, for a background thing, whatever. I mean, like, obviously Stephen King is a prolific fucking story writer. So they
didn't tout this when it was released.
Correct.
It wasn't touted as a Stephen King piece. I didn't have it, but somebody I knew had the movie poster, and it said at the very bottom in tiny font, based on a novella by Stephen King. But when they were advertising,
it also says based on The Body by Stephen King.
I think you're right. When they were promoting this, they weren't promoting it as a Stephen King.
Well, because he's coming off Maximum Overdrive, which is like 84, 83-ish, something like that. Even though, like, everyone's like, Stephen King's The Shining in 80, him and Stanley Kubrick have, like, such a whatever. He's like, well, look, dude, you sold it to me. I don't give a fuck about what you want to happen here. I'm directing this. You have nothing to do with this. You get the fuck out of here. Like, they had a big problem with it. Like, and... a lot of Stephen King's properties have kind of been mishandled, in my opinion, over the years. Some of them have not. I mean, like Frank Darabont, has done a good job with them. I think The Green Mile was okay, and Shawshank Redemption, that's a Stephen King property.
What about Gerald's Game?
I have no idea what you're talking about. What about fucking Misery?
Oh, Misery. That's what I'm talking about. Not Gerald's Game. Gerald's Game came out after Misery.
Oh, shit. Because there's two Kathy Bates, Stephen King. There's Misery and Dolores Claiborne.
Yeah, I was talking about Misery.
And she is throwing 102 miles an hour in both of those, by the way. She's a fucking treasure.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, Misery. That's what I was talking. Gerald's Game, actually.
Misery is the most disturbing shit ever. Like, the book destroys, and the movie is great. Yeah. Fucking James Caan's throwing heat. She's so fucking scary in that movie. I don't know. Maybe we should, in future versions of this, talk about Stephen King representation on film.
We could. I've read. Up until probably 10 years ago, I'd read all of his books.
He's actually
maybe
got
15
a lot
years
more
ago.
Now. No hate, but I mean, like,
I'm just a lot more selective about what.
Sure, like I feel like he's writing a lot these days. I'm like, in the last 10 years, he's got like 40 books in 10 years, and I'm like,
I've read like 2 of those, Under the Dome and 11/23.
Oh, that was insane, though. I did read that.
Mm-hmm. That's actually the last Stephen King book I read.
Me too. Well, Angie, thank you so much for coming. Can you agree to come back on the show? And
you bet, John. My pleasure.
Maybe that's going to be the thing we talk about.
Okay.
Is Stephen King adaptations to film.
I love it. Let's do it.
Do you have anything to plug? You got any shows coming up? Any
No, everything's pretty quiet right now with the production company. I heading into winter, we'll probably do a little bit of writing, and I'll circle back with you guys in spring.
That's right. All right, we're gonna check back with Angie in spring. Thanks for listening to Tharp in 30, and tune in for the next episode about the Iran-Contra affair. All right, thanks a lot, people. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So dark.